Happy holidays from the Trackside Skinny. I'm here in my kitchen. It's the day before Christmas Eve. Got 35 people coming over tomorrow. I'm doing a private party this evening, and I'm gonna make bread, and I'm gonna show you how. Okay, so I used to be afraid of making bread, but when I opened a small restaurant, I wanted to get my own bread recipe. So I tried a few different recipes, and my wife was driving by her uncle's house once. There was an ambulance outside. Thought he was having a heart attack. Turned out he just had gas. But while she was there, he gave her James Beard's book on bread, which is where this recipe came from. The first step in the recipe, I have 2 cups of warm water, approximately 110 degrees. And the way to tell that is if you put your finger under the running water, a little hotter than body temperature is about 110 degrees. I have a half a tablespoon of granulated sugar, and then I have a pack of active yeast, which happens to be a tablespoon. I'm gonna put those 2 together, and then I'll mix it up real nice with a fork. And then we're gonna go check on the food on the grill because we have about 20 minutes for the yeast to activate. What happens is the yeast feeds off the sugar and produces carbon dioxide, which is what makes bread wraps. It's been about 20 minutes. You can see there's been a little bit of volcanic activity. You can wait a little longer if you want, but you wanna make sure that it looks like one large mass instead of water and something separated like this one does. I put the flour into a bowl for easier mixing, and I'm just gonna pour the water right in with the yeast. I wanna try to make sure I get every bit. My hands are clean. One of the reasons I got into cooking was so that I could use my hands. I had the best mud pies in the neighborhood. So I'm gently gonna work the water into the flour, slowly. One thing I do wanna stress is whenever you're baking, you should follow a recipe as closely as possible. You know, you might wanna alter the recipe once you get comfortable with that recipe, but in baking, it's essential that you follow recipes. I'm just gonna work all this together as best I can. One of the things I really would encourage you not to add more flour or water to your dough unless you absolutely have to. If you add water, you should do a tiny bit at a time. Put it on your hands and add it, and then just a tiny bit of flour at a time, because if you start adding water and flour, you will definitely affect the integrity of the bread. And you can see how you're starting to come into a dough now. There's a little extra flour. And there's some around the outside too. I always want to go around the outside of the bowl because some of the moisture lies there. And I want to make sure I have all the moisture I need. This looks like it's going to work out just about right, where I won't have to add any water or flour. I'm going to dump it down onto the counter now. Make it a little easier to work with. And just use my hands. This is called kneading the bread dough. Obviously, we cleaned and disinfected the counter first, but I want to knead the bread like this 3 to 5 minutes. I'm just working the outside into the inside until it's a nice dough, and you can feel the dough. It looks nice, beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same bowl that I mixed it in. I'm going to put it in a warm spot in the kitchen. I'm going to cover it with a clean towel or plastic and leave it for an hour to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes to double in size. And then we'll check back and see what we got. Okay, it's been about an hour, and you can see the dough has doubled in size. It feels beautiful. I'm going to dump it out of the bowl. It feels perfect. You can tell the dough kind of bouncy, not flat. I'm gonna split it in half, actually. Just twist it and split it in half. And I'm gonna make dinner rolls. So what I'll do is, I'll pinch off what I think is an appropriate size, just using my hands. You know, I'm looking, I guess, about 2 ounces maybe of dough. Just break them all up first. And then I take my hand and I form like a spider around the bread, and roll and press down at the same time, just like so. And when you get done, it's round and the seam is at the bottom. I think I might spray a little product placement on there. And then what we're gonna do after that is we're gonna proof them. And by proof them, we're gonna put them back into that same warm spot we put them in so that the dough could double, and let them rise again a little bit before we throw them into the oven. Okay, so this oven's probably about 30 years old, but it was ahead of its time, thankfully. or we have a convection oven on top, or we have a conventional oven in the bottom. The convection oven has a fan in the back. You can take a look in here. There's a fan in the back. You see it's just going to stop back there. That's the fan in the back of the convection oven, and that circulates the heat throughout the oven. The other oven doesn't have a fan. One thing I found when I put my rolls into a convection oven, the fan made them fall down, so they were kind of tilted over. So one day I put them in a conventional oven first at 200 degrees, and then I put them in the convection oven at 375 degrees. 10 minutes at 200 degrees, and then 10 to 12 minutes at 375 in the convection. If you don't have a convection oven, what you can do is start them at 200, and after 10 minutes, just turn it to 400 for another 10 minutes. Okay, we got the dinner rolls. We're gonna throw them in here in the bottom oven, which is now set for about 180 degrees because it seemed like it was a little hot the last time. And in 10 minutes, we're gonna set the timer for 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, we'll put it into the convection oven. All right, that's the 10 minutes in the lower conventional oven. You can see that they grow a little bit and they kind of maintain their round shape, which is the main reason I wanted to put them in there. Got my baguettes are looking pretty good. One looks like it's about Philly steak sandwich size. The other one looks more like a garlic cheese bread. All right, we'll see what happens in about 10 minutes. Oh my goodness, look at these rolls. Absolutely perfect. We have a DNA chain over here, a 4 chain over here. Absolutely beautiful rolls. And a little hot. Thanks for joining us. Now you know how easy it is to make bread, so don't be afraid to make bread. Have a wonderful holiday season, you and all your family. Enjoy yourselves, and hopefully soon we'll see you live from some thoroughbred racing facility.